What's up, everybody? Celtic Scark here, back from another video with those 10s and 20 views. Yeah, kind of took a mini break on these streaming things. We'll come back Wednesday. We're playing D&D tonight, so that's going to shuffle everything from Tuesday to Wednesday. But if you have followed me on Twitch or checked out the Haunted Forest Gaming Haunted Forest Gaming, I got rid of the word network. Haunted Forest Gaming, you'll see how the Twitch is at this level. Go check that out. But you'll also see that I'm playing a game that a lot of people have made a ton of content, and that game is Monster Hunter Wild. It is a very fun game. Overall rating of the game, I give it a solid B. There's a few things I don't like about it. Like, if you're stuck in a story quest line, you kind of can't just go out and explore the world, because in order to get, like, especially trank bombs, you need to collect a lot of items, also to grind out equipment. But it's like, oh, you can't leave because you need to do this storyline thing. But they're not here for that. We're here to grade the weapons of the Monster Hunter Wild World. This grade will be S through F. Simboy always doing it. If you're not a gamer, you don't know what S rank is, that is like perfect. Like, you can, like, you ever play D&D, it's like S rank, it's like, oh, you did extremely well, you got an A. Good, but you didn't miss a single one. S. That's sort of F is also, you destroy this weapon, please, for the love of God, get rid of it. I'm grading this off of how fun the weapon is, how effective the weapon is, and how, like, I'm trying to find the best way I can describe this, not boring to play. Like, there's a few weapons that are, like, really cool and really effective. I would make some changes to it, but it's like, they're kind of just not fun to play. And let's be fair, it's also, I'm starting this at like a low ranking level within Monster Hunter, so it's like, hey, if you're at the end game, you already know what weapon you're choosing. You already learned the tricks and trade of that weapon. This is low rank. When are you going to start getting your weapons? So let's switch over to here. I have the tier list website up. All the websites up. This one was actually created by this guy, which you can follow him on Twitter at XDGameplay113. He took the time to make the list. I did reshuffle the weapons, make it a little easier. We are starting off with, actually, I'm going to get over to Monster Hunter on my game, with the Greatsword. The Greatsword is a great weapon. It is a simple weapon. I am going to give it a solid A. For reasons of YouTube TV, open, go back to Monster Hunter Wild. It's kind of repetitive. It's realistically, you're using the B combo a lot, trying to hopefully get your charge weight up, and you're blocking, which is great. This is all great. That's why it's in the A rank. But it's one of those things where it's just like, when you look at a few of the other weapons, it's like, oh, I have different combos now. I have different things. Whereas like Monster Hunter, it's still, this Greatsword is still just pretty much the same thing as from World. But if you're a beginner, you can block with it, which is a great thing to do in this game. It hits the hardest. I did a study at the start of the game of damage just per one swing, and the hammer was putting out like the best damage out of every weapon on a one swing in every facet. Like, unsheathing the weapon, it hit just as hard as like the normal swing. So the Greatsword gets a big, great A. Moving on to the Longsword. This is your weave weapon. The weapon that, you know, makes you feel like a samurai, some cartoon character level. I am giving it a solid B. No. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's a solid weapon. It does have a high learning curve, and at times where it's like you're trying to figure out the game, and if you want to keep playing it, the combo's kind of like you're a little too kind of finicky with it at times. Now, it did put up, let's see, Longsword, put up decent numbers, but not that much better than some of the other weapons. Like, On a base swing, the highest I got on it was 20. But it's like the sword and shield was like hitting almost. The sword and shield almost hit as hard, and you get a shield to block it. So it's a B. Speaking of the sword and shield, a fun weapon, a good weapon. I am also giving this weapon a solid A. Hey, it's a great weapon. It's a poster weapon. Shield, not the greatest shield. I'm not gonna lie, it's not the greatest shield. Actually, we're gonna move it down to a B. The shield, there are better shield options. For some reason, I can block better with other shields in this one. But it has the versatility of however you want to play, it is getting very good with it. You can have a lot of fun. It's a very fun weapon. Speaking of very fun weapons, the dual blades. I'm giving this an S. And that is saying something due to the fact that in Monster Hunter World, I would have given this weapon a D. Like, the mechanics, I don't know how much they really changed, but it's really fun. It's really fast. It does everything it's supposed to do. And the breaking of, like, when you have a wound, the attack looks really cool. It's very fun, easy to pick up and learn. Next up is a weapon I am highly disappointed in. It is the hammer. And I'm giving it a D. Not an F. It's not the word. It does its job, but it's a very basic controls. It's not... Oh, it's fun to just smack a monster in the head, but it's like... For a weapon that only looks to be about the size of a baseball bat, it's slower than the greatsword. It's easily the slowest weapon in the game. It's slower than the greatsword. It's hard to dodge around with it. The greatsword, you can at least, after each swing, make a dodge. The hammer does not feel it. I kind of wish there was more attacks too. Like, it's a hammer. It's basically a glorified baseball bat. It should be light and fast, and that's like the thing with a weapon like that. It's not as much like the greatsword. It's a big weapon, so it's inertia. The hammer, it should be like swinging speed. It's like mass speed plus mass or something like that. So that's why it's getting a D, because of the fact that it's a big, slow, clunky weapon. And if I'm going with a bonking weapon that does that, I'm going with the horn, which I'm giving an A. The hunting horn. If you haven't played the horn and you can't figure out the horn, that's on you. The horn is a great weapon. It is like you can solo fights with the horn. Hey, I need healing. Make sure I grab the right horn. Hey, I'm fighting something that puts out lightning. Lightning resistance. You are your own walking boost. And for the fact that when I did my little test, the hammer's damage was, and this I used the triangle circle because I'm playing on PlayStation. Triangle attack was 35, circle was 25, R2 was 17. The hunting horn, 24, 24, 34, and 27. So it's hitting slightly weaker than the hammer, but you add in all the cool different things it can do. That's what puts there. Next up is charge. Yep, charge blade. I'm giving this weapon a B. It's fun. It's gotten better. I definitely like this version of the charge blade better than the Monster Hunter World version of the charge blade. Less. It's easier to figure out the different quirks to it. I just hate the fact that you have to constantly charge the files. Like, if you don't charge and your sword gets overheated, it gets weaker. That's something I don't like about it. Switch axe. I am loving this weapon. It is an A rank weapon, in my opinion. The downside of the switch axe is the fact that it has to change into a sword. I wish it was just an axe. And I wish the hammer swung like the axe form of the switch axe. Like, if the hammer was built like the switch axe, it was like a switch hammer. It was like it was gone from a blunt weapon to a bladed weapon. I think that would be a really fun design. But it's like, an axe can be its own devastating weapon. There's a reason why it's an axe for both the switch axe and the charge blade. I just wish I would rather have. I would rather just have an axe mode by itself and a switch hammer. I think that's great. Next up is the gun lance. I'm a big gun lance fan. I like things about it. I originally thought it was clunky. No, this is an A rank weapon, almost S rank, and really love what they did. They kept the same weapon. Hey, you have a shield. Not it's really better than blocking than the sword and shield. You can fight behind it. Oh yeah, if it's something that you can't cut through, you have shells to blast through it. I and also you have the wyvern shot for free, so that makes it a great weapon. The actual lance itself, this is an S rank weapon. This one, chef's kiss. One, you shield bash every time you get hit, so it's basically like you're hitting me, I'm hitting you. You're taking some kind of damage, and like the lance, it does what it's supposed to. It's a long pointy stick. It does damage, and you're hiding behind your shield. So that's a great thing. The insect glaive. F. Yep, that's a big fat F for me. The whole logic, and I'm gonna even go to the insect glaive on my thing. It's like handling bugs for insect to collect extra powers you give. Use the Kingset to vault midair around attack. One of the big functions, and I like the insect from World, is the fact that you can shoot that bug out, create little puffs of whatever, poison damage, blast damage, healing. So it just looks like there's just little colorful clouds everywhere. It's clunky. You have to to order to do it, you have to go like left trigger, right trigger, R1. You have to hit like 3 buttons to shoot the king set. It's not as fast as it should be. Like it's a looks like a supposed to be like a spear-like weapon that you can wield like a bow staff, but it's clunky. It's slow. It is not fun. It's one of those things where it's just like I don't know if that's the controls, if there's a way to switch it, but it's like everything about it's kind of like leads up to like a charged attack and hoping you cut it. Like even like the mid-air combat isn't like good. Next up, the bow. I had issues with the bow in Monster Hunter World. I hated the range. It was the shortest of all the ranged weapons. And it was just like, I soloed World. Not Iceborne, but World. With the bow. And I was like, it had no range. They fixed that. They gave it a bunch of new tricks. This is an S tier rank weapon. It can solo almost every monster as long as you know what you're doing. The falling attack that used to just be falling rocks now has tracer rounds in it, so you can really load up on that and hit a big tracer shot round on it. It is probably easily one of the best weapons in the game. That if you're not looking to just steal like that one knockout punch, something like the great sword or hammer or even the charge blade, this could be your best weapon. If you don't want to be near a monster, but you want all the perks of never having to worry about ammo, bow. Next up is the heavy bow gun. I'm giving the heavy bow gun a C, which sucks because I like the heavy bow gun. I actually like the wyvern, the sniper shot version of the thing instead of the machine gun version of it, because if you did it right, you took out like the whole chain of a monster. I think they kind of just stripped it down a little too much and made it more complicated than it needed to be, to be perfectly honest. It's just one of those things where it's like the wyvern snipe is now how you damage the monster so it doesn't do as much damage. The machine gun part of it still great, but then they give out like a more like a mortar shell, and you can technically not have like the Wyvern Blast as an option, it just went down here. And last but not certainly not the least on my list is the light bowgun. I'm giving that a D. I'm sorry, but everything it does outside of the trip mines, I can do with the bow and heavy bowgun and the bow. It brings nothing different to the table, that not enough different to the table to make me say, yeah, I'm going to use this over those two options. Now, this is just my list of like my opinion of like the best weapon. If you're looking for like weapons that are extremely fun, be honestly anything from B up. Like the charge blade is a bit hard to learn. The switch axe is actually relatively easy. You don't need to use sword mode, and it tanks a lot of things. The great sword, it is a great sword for a reason. And like even these weapons in the B, if you can figure it, like these have probably the most complicated commands in it. The B class, where it's like once you figure each one of these out and you can perfect their like little combos, you are a force to be reckoned with. Especially the sword and the shield. The fact that you have a bash attack in that, instant. But this is my list. I'm doing another run through on a couple of our characters, and I'm using more or less the hunting horn. I'm using pretty much a lot of the B, a lot of A. Like I like the dual blades. I think I just it's one of those weapons where it's just like it's fun, but I like the heavy hitting. The lance is a great weapon to do if you don't like to take defense. It's a great weapon if you can somehow control the monster. I honestly think right now I'd rather go gun lance than regular lance just for the slightly better offensive pop to it. But that is my list. Tell me what you think. Where would you put stuff in there? What changes would you make? Like I said, I would switch the hammer for an axe, small hard hitting axe, and go switch hammer. That would be a very fun weapon. But that's it. That's all I have. Go check out Twitch Wednesday night at 8, or I'll be streaming continuation of the campaign. That's it. That's all I have. I'll see you weird people later.